The 70s through the 90s was basically the Wild Wild West for movies. It was in this pre-MCU, pre-DCEU, pre-VCU, pre-4K AC/DC DVD that your aunt got you for Christmas because you told her you listened to Back in Black in the car on the way to see her the last time 8 years ago. That Hollywood didn't have formulas for their franchises, or even math for that matter, so they didn't know what the hell they were gonna do. I mean, it was in these decades that we had franchises and movies like Star Wars, Alabama Sam, Enrique the Stabber, Grumpies, The Mommy Returns, Dudes in Suits, and what better movie to cap off this era of films than The Wild Wild West?
That is a man's.
And it usually seemed like the better the franchise did, the more toys it would sell, which makes this movie an anomaly because a lot of people talk about how much they love it, and yes, it did sell a lot of action figures in its time, but now it seems like this movie was largely forgotten, despite being in your stepdad's top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Flash. Flash.
Here we are, Earth, Old Blue, Third Rock from the Sun, the Big Easy, the finest sphere, the big ball, big blue ball, baby, the blue ball. Right now, it's getting ADS by some rich chode who wants to play with it. On Earth, we meet Flash Gordon, quarterback of the Jets, but we can just forget about that affiliation because we're really talking about a broad-shouldered, burly, strapping, corn-fed motherfucker, maybe 6'4", 6'5", big ol' hog in them jeans, ready to plow. He's boarding a private jet with a lovely young girl, maybe a wife in the future if she's lucky. And her name is Dale. And I don't know where the hell they're flying, but from the way they're flying, it seems like the pilots might have had maybe 1 or 2 vodka tonies before getting in that cockpit, if you know what I'm saying. Don't worry, guys, we're getting through this. There's hot rocks and shit fall from the sky. Just a little turbulence. Turbulence never killed anyone. Anyway, Flash, can you sign this for my son? His name's Buzz. Get it? Like me, because I'm not drunk, I'm just a little buzzed. Hang on, everyone. Anyway, while Flash is in the back of the plane fucking sweet-talking Dale, the sky becomes red and the pilots get fucking killed by this really condescending douche who looks like the Mandarin from Iron Man. So Flash and Dale take over this cockpit and fucking crash into a grow house where this dude named Hams, I'm pretty sure it was Hams actually. Anyway, he points a gun at them and puts them in this rocket he built in the grow house. And while he is pointing the gun at them, he's like, listen, I know there's 4 seats in here, so plenty for all of us to sit comfortably in here, but I ain't gay, so I don't want no other dudes in here. I built these 4 seats for me and 3 other chicks. And even though he's still pointing his gun at them, Flash beats the fuck out of this dude. And he's like, buckle your seatbelt! Buckle your seatbelt, we'll take it off! Flash and Dale snuggle all the way into this black hole while Hams just like watches in the corner, and then they all crash in front of this castle, and a bunch of dudes in red suits just surround their crashed ship, and Flash pops out to say hi, but one of them shoots him in the hand with the hand and flips him forward and chokes his ass out. And then they take an elevator ride up to the rest of the castle, and boy is there a lot to take in here. For one, while Dr. Hams is talking about how advanced this new civilization they're seeing is, we see one of the guards' masks which looks like a skeleton. If the skeleton was like really worried that they were about to find out that he's not actually a skeleton. Anyway, in the temple, this flying ball starts like shit talking all 3 of them.
Riot shield! I'm a pussy that use riot shield!
After deleting a dude in a lizard costume. They go into this gaudy ass room with a bunch of different types of motherfuckers in there. I'm talking gold motherfuckers, blue motherfuckers, bird motherfuckers, nun motherfuckers, Mardi Gras motherfuckers, Italian motherfuckers, ugly ass motherfuckers, gay motherfuckers, bisexual motherfuckers, scary motherfuckers. Anyway, they're all there to see this evil femboy twink General Ming. And when he walks out, they all start Ming-heiling. I mean, giving their heart out to him. Anyway, Ming's main homie Tito wants the Hawksmen to make a tribute for Ming. So the quarterback of the Hawks, Tony Hawk, no relation, offers up this big ass ice crystal, but someone else doesn't think they should be giving it up. And who's that? It's Timothy Dalton, baby, T-Dalt. He comes in, he's all like,
if you think that their cold stone is yours to give, then I got about 5 reasons that you're gonna be handing it back, and that's the bottom line, cause T-Dalt said so.
So then they all start fighting, but then Tito's all like, Ming didn't say I could fight, so fucking stop. And they stop fighting, but Tony Hawk comes back in with a swift slash back to T-Dalt, and Tito interjects again. Well, I guess if you want to keep fighting, we'll just have to sacrifice your fucking daughter. So Tony backs off, and then the Ardentists come up, and they pay their tribute, and their spokesman, or whoever's like doing the ceremony, who's like offering the tribute, says, yeah, so we don't actually like have anything, but we love you. But then Ming responds, and he's all like, that's great, man, awesome, yeah, Clearasil. And yeah, the dude is a bit shocked by that request, so he goes up to Ming with his sword, and he's all like, all right, sick, so I just want to point out that I will not be clearing a sylph, I will actually be clearing a Ming. And he tries to stab him with his sword, but then Ming freezes him and then stabs him. And after seeing all this, Flash is just like, this fucking Ming guy is cuckoo. And Ming is like, the fuck you just say to me, dude? No, what did you say? Don't just be talking shit like that. Is that your girl, dude? What did you say? And then he takes Dale up to like in front of him, and he like horny rays her or something. But then he compares her sex appeal to that of his daughter's. Flash gets defensive of Dale, and he stands in front of her and is all like, damn it, Ming, forget it. Damn it, Ming, forget it. Dale's my girlfriend. They've known each other for like a few hours at this point. Anyway, Flash gets into a football fight with all these dopey red helmet nerds, and they kick him in the balls like 6 times. Ming's daughter's watching, just turning into an absolute waterfall at this point. Jesus Christ, she cannot keep it contained. Flash is down there in a shotgun formation, calling a bunch of audibles, to whom only he knows. And these dumbass red helmet f***s are just standing around confused, while Ming is apparently completely forgetting about the fact that he has a floating ball that just deletes shit in the temple with him right now. But Flash is just absolutely destroying them with the power of just kind of running around. He's throwing a football jewel at their heads until Dr. Hams, unathletic, all brains, no hands, throws the football jewel at Flash's head, knocks his ass out, and gets him sent to public execution. But then Ming's daughter, Princess Awooga! Don't worry, I'm never gonna make that joke ever again in this whole video. She's all like, he's hot, I want him. And Ming is like, dude, are you fucking your husband T-Dalt, the best James Bond, and please don't argue that because I cannot back it up, is standing right there, dude. No, we're killing him. And then like right before Flash's public execution, she's hanging out with T-Dalt and is like, if you leave, I'll wait right here for you. And T-Dalt's all like,
here's the thing, bitch. T-Dalt knows you're lying, and you got another damn thing coming. If you think Timothy Dalton's gonna put up with all that bullshit, what?
Anyway, that brings us to execution day, baby. They got Flash in some comfy looking silk underwear. Give him a silk bag to put over his head. And I will say, for being far from Earth, all the way in outer space, this society really loves their silk. Dale starts crying, and Hams just kind of watches Flash get sat down in this gas chamber. They're gassing him? Yikes. And Flash fucking dies? God damn, dude, this movie's ruthless. So, Flash gets a really nice coffin with a custom tombstone, at least. Him and his big-ass hog and them silk undies just laying dead as hell in that coffin. Ming's daughter comes into the coffin room with another dude she's banging and tells him to resurrect Flash so she can bang him. Listen, as much as this sounds like it's probably a sex crime, she has needs too, I guess? That doesn't nullify it. Trust me, I agree with you. So anyway, Flash comes back to life and Ming's daughter gives him some clothes to change into. She tells him she won't look while he changes, but surprise! She does. This woman is a predator. So after Flash changes, she wants to take him to this tree planet with a bunch of trees and birds, but it's not Earth. Don't you say it's Earth, it's not Earth. And on the way there, Ming's daughter is teaching Flash how to pilot one of those ships, but she just can't stop kissing him and smooching him. She's treating him like how I treat my dog, but in more of a sexual assault kind of way. I honestly don't know how they don't crash. She's like sitting on his lap directly in front of him and shit. It's insane. Back at Ming's house, Dale's dressed like a damn wedding cake, and she starts talking to Flash back on the ship using this machine that gives Flash like telepathic Professor X powers that go like directly into her mind, I guess. And she's like, baby, I'm in Ming's room. I'm getting drunk as hell right now. And while Flash is talking to her while still on the ship, Ming's daughter is giving him a lap dance while he tries to make a plan for her escape. He's responding back to her like, see if you can trick him or something. God damn! And Dale's like, what was that?
She had a fat ass.
Flash tells her that they're going to this tree planet, and somehow Dale just automatically knows what he's talking about. Dale smears this drink, and she thinks it's good as hell. But she's pretty sure it's roofied, because Ming just kind of gives off that vibe, you know? She's staying safe and vigilant. Good for her. So anyway, she tricks one of Ming's sex slaves into drinking the roofied drink instead of her.
The boss energy.
Then, after the other concubine is knocked out, Dale is just sort of... Then after the other concubine gets knocked out by the drink, Dale just sort of walks out of Ming's room unnoticed and kills some guards in the hallway. And while she's out there, she sees Dr. Hams and just recaps like the last 8 minutes of the movie to him and lets him know where Flash ran off to. And meanwhile, this is all being captured on a hallway surveillance camera being watched by Tito and friends, who then tell Ming, and Ming is all like, I don't know how you can let this happen, and I'm steaming mad. Flash and Ming's daughter are now on Arborea. Get it? Arborea? Arbor. Trees. There's a lot of them. Anyway, there are a bunch of dudes with green shirts standing around this rock, and this kid says he wants to be a man, so he shoves his hand into a hole in the rock, and the scorpion face hugger thing stabs him in the wrist, so T-Dot fucking kills him. And because she's a sociopath, Ming's daughter gets all horned up watching this, and she walks over to them, and T-Dalt gets excited when he sees her and runs over to the two-timing bitch. This is when she reveals that she brought Flash with her, and T-Dalt fucking hates Flash, dude. So he gets all mad and kisses her, even though he knows she's a dirty goddamn skank, and then he agrees to hold Flash captive on this planet, hidden as far as he knows. Anyway, we cut back to Ming's place right after this scene, and his daughter is already back there. Like, goddamn. We just saw her like 5 seconds ago, and she's already back at her dad's house. So anyway, they're just whipping the shit out of her because they know she resurrected Flash and helped him escape. And then Ming's freaky ass just walks in and watches. So Dr. Hams and Dale are riding on a space scooter to get to Arborea, and a bunch of Hawksmen pick them up and fly them to this Hawksman party, where their leader, Tony Hawk, is getting finger foods fed right into his big ass mouth. Anyway, they tell Tony Hawk that they need to go get Flash on this tree planet to overthrow Ming, because like he's the only one who can do it. He's like a hero or whatever, I don't know. So back on the aforementioned tree planet, Flash escapes T-Dalt's little swamp cage thing that he put him in. He was being held captive there with a couple other dudes, but he got out. Anyway, they catch him after he gets out, and then they bring him up to where that kid stuck his hand into the rock, and they make him stick his hand in, and yeah, they just keep making him stick his hand in over and over again. He sticks his hand in a bunch of times, but T-Dalt keeps like changing the rules of the game because Flash is not getting stabbed by the face hugger scorpion thing. I mean, the rules were not particularly clear to begin with. So anyway, Flash gets wise of this, and he Houdinis their asses and pretends he got pricked. But he just wanted them to feel bad for him so he could grab their, and now like, while they come up and they're like, oh baby, oh my god, are you hurt? Oh my god. While they're doing that, he grabs the gun off their belt and he points it at him, and he's able to get away. And he runs away right into this big stinky pile of shit. And he gets out of it, but now he stinks. Or so we think for a second, because just then some like ball sack monster thing pulls him down to the ground even farther, and that's when T-Dalt miraculously shows up pointing his tiny little crossbow thing that shoots like shotgun lasers, or I don't know. He shoots the monster and it dies, and then he points the weapon at Flash and he's all like,
I've been hunting your ass down for about 2 minutes. What? And now T-Dalt's about to put the whoop ass on you once and for all? What?
But before T-Dalt can shoot Flash, the Hawksmen surround both of them, capturing them and taking them to their Hawk Palace party thing. I don't know. Anyway, T-Dalt, needless to say, has a big old problem with being held captive. So he goes up to Tony Hawk and he says,
Listen, you wise-ass nanny boy. T-Dalt is a prince, and I ain't gonna let no big-mouth, bird-brain lollygagger keep me hostage without getting a haul ass in the ring. So I'm gonna give you about 5 minutes to set up a whips in a circle match with me and that blonde-haired pretty boy behind me, Flash Gordon.
I just want to go home, please. Just down the hall from this conversation, Dr. Hams is walking with Dale and talking about how the moon is going to crash into the earth in a little while, and then they turn the corner and they see Flash, and Dale gets all excited, and she's all, boy, do I got stories to tell you. Why don't you tell our kids? What kids? The kids we're going to have in the future. You know, after we have sex? All right. I mean, we've only really known each other for like a day, maybe. So then Flash and T-Dalt literally just start whipping each other's asses, and Flash wins, but he saves T-Dalt from dying, so they form a little alliance and convince the Hawks to join them. And right as that all happens, Tito pulls up in his ship that resembles a fly and also a wiener. Listen, I feel like every video I've done now has some sort of reference to wieners. I'll reflect on that later.
Holy shit!
Anyway, Tito tells T-Dalt that he's under arrest, but then T-Dalt and Flash kill Tito on some spikes, and then he looks like one of those like squeaky toys where the eyeballs like pop out when you squeeze them. And Tony Hawk sees this happen, and he gets really freaked out because this was not the vibe that he wanted to bring into this house party at that time. The spikes were decorative. He didn't think someone would actually go as far as to get killed on them. So then Tony Hawk leaves, and Ming shows up to offer Flash his own timeshare. And he's like, Earth's moon is about to hit Earth and destroy everyone on the planet, but if you fucking chill out a little bit for just a goddamn second, I can stop that from happening. And Flash is like, all right, so Earth will be all right then, right? Yeah, sure. And everyone will be down to just agree with whatever you say. Okay, wait, do you mean they're gonna be slaves? Don't say that word. They're gonna be your buddies, your pals, huh? They're gonna love you. They're gonna do whatever you want them to do without any sort of wage compensation, huh? No W-2s. Yeah, that sounds like you're describing slaves. No. Look, you remember your founding father? Andrew Jackson? Yeah, he like famously had slaves. He had Come on, man. You're gonna talk about one of your great founding fathers that way? All right, fine, man. I'm just gonna have to kill you. But instead of killing him right there, Ming leaves and takes Dr. Hams, T-Dalt, and Dale with him, making Flash the only remaining person left in Tony Hawk's hype house here. And Ming just starts blasting. But Flash heads to the basement and he sneaks out on this little slow-mobile thing and rings Tony Hawk on his walkie-talkie. Tony Hawk gets all flattered that Flash would forgive him for leaving him and agrees to come kill Ming with him. In the meantime, Dale is back at Ming's place, dressed back up as a sex slave and getting a mani-pedi from all the other sex slaves. And Ming's daughter, now turned sex slave, I guess? It's frustrating to think about, but I think that's what's happening. She gets thrown into the sex room with all the other sex slaves, and also she was getting whipped and tortured like a few hours before all of this, and all of her wounds from that now seem to just all have miraculously healed. I don't know how. Maybe it's because she's an alien. I don't know. But anyway, Dale sees her bitch ass come in, and she starts taking her earrings off, and she's all like,
I'm about to beat this bitch up.
So then they start wrestling on the sex bed, and all the other sex slaves are watching and seemingly just getting like hella turned on. But Ming's daughter is like, stop! I'm in the doghouse too. Oh hell no, I'm about to f you up, bitch. Ming wants me to be his sex slave. Wait, aren't I his daughter? Anyway, this is garlic powder. He's deathly allergic. I need you to slip some of this into his pasta. Well, you're a little late for that now because I promised him I'd be a good wife to him now that Flash is dead and all. Motherfucker, you are a sex slave. Then another lady comes in to tell them that Dale's wedding with Ming is about to happen and she needs Dale to come out and commence it and everything. I don't know. Meanwhile, Flash is riding his slow-mobile around in front of Ming's palace, and this gets all the attention of the pilots aboard the wiener ship that I mentioned earlier. Look, it looks like a wiener. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm sorry. Anyway, the ship follows Flash all the way back to his gathered fleet of Tony Hawk and his army of militiamen, and when they finally get close enough, Tony Hawk makes a command to all the bird people. Squadron 40! Dive! And after seeing a ton of his men die as soon as they reach the ship, Tony Hawk is just like, oh well, who wants to live forever? Dive! This actor, I'm not joking you, has the biggest mouth I've ever seen in a movie, I think. I would be surprised if there's not like a world record. Anyway, Tony Hawk finally gets on the ship with everybody else, and he joins the fight, and he's just like bonking the dumbest henchmen ever right on the heads, which is killing them instantly. So anyway, they blow the ship about halfway to smithereens, and then hijack it from the space fascists. But during this time, back at Ming's Bar and Grill, Ming's daughter frees Dr. Hams and T-Dalt from captivity, which I think is gonna make it a lot harder for them to be executed. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like a lot more difficult to kill them while they're walking around with guns. So, yeah, I'm fairly certain Ming's guards are gonna have to work a lot harder than they thought now. Like, just as the wedding between Dale and Ming is getting started, in which they play the interdimensional wedding song, Here Comes the Bride, which ends up being very convenient for Flash because he hears it on the Wiener Ship radio and is easily able to figure out what is happening just from the song. If only they had played some other weird interdimensional music for weddings, Flash wouldn't have known what the hell was going on and he wouldn't have flown back to Ming's as fast as he did. But instead, he hauled that big ass Wiener Ship full of Hawksmen back to Ming's place fast as hell. But the problem is, back at Ming's, Tito's replacement, Tita, knows it's full of Hawksmen and tells everyone at Ming's estate to fire at it just continuously from their castle guns. And as they make their approach, Tony Hawk urges Flash to leave the ship, but Flash says he wants to kamikaze the damn place. And Tony Hawk is just like, alright, man, are you okay? But the Ming-Dale wedding is basically happening. But right as they're about to put the ring pop looking ass ring on Dale's finger, Flash just gets past the force field of lightning in the Wiener Ship, and he's just looking at Al-Qaeda everybody in that stupid wedding ceremony. Even Dale, seemingly. He rams that ship right through the damn window, through a hallway that is somehow perfectly sized to snugly fit the shaft of the ship, and then right up Ming's ass. Right up Ming's ass. Right up Ming's ass. And then right up Ming's ass. Flash comes out of the ship with a sword to chop Ming's head off while he has a ship up his ass. But Ming just like stops being in the movie. Like, I don't know what he does in this scene, but yeah, he ceases to continue being seen in the movie. But anyway, the Earth exploding timer, which was a thing that Flash set earlier, that counts down to 0, and then that overpowered ball that could just delete shit from the beginning of the movie that Ming just like didn't want to actually use comes back to tell Flash that the Earth is saved now. Shit's just working out now. Cool. T-Dalt becomes the new king of the castle, and he has everybody congratulate Flash, and Flash is now just like,
wow, this has just been such a pleasure. I'm such a lucky boy. I can't wait to go home.
But they don't. So anyway, I have some questions after watching this movie here. Everything seemed so rocky between T-Dalt and Ming's trifling ass daughter for like the entire movie.
Lying bitch.
Yet at the end, I think we're just supposed to think that they worked it all out and everything is all honky-dory now. Also, Flash was blatantly fooling around with Ming's daughter and Dale knew it. Does Dale just like not care? Also, why didn't Ming use that overpowered robot ball more? That thing is a damn terror, dude. That thing is so overpowered. If someone talked back to me, I'd be like, delete that guy. By the end of this movie, I definitely understood why it has the cult following that it does. The effects are extremely campy and practical. The dialogue is silly. On a scale of the New York Jets football team to a penis-shaped spaceship, I would honestly give this movie a facehugger scorpion thing. Anyway, what did you think of this movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did I do a bad enough job of explaining it? Let me know in the comments. And what movie should I explain badly next? Anyway, that's all I got for you on this one. Love you lots.